This is a story about a boy who was born in a bathtub at home to a 16-year-old girl. A boy whose impending arrival was unbeknownst to anybody except for that 16-year-old girl. Not the girl's mom, dad, not even her twin sister knew until the day he was born. This is a story, of course, about me. As I describe my story, I want you to picture two paths. The first one is about his loved ones, and the other path is about my career in accounting. And today I'm going to describe some of the intersections that have come along the way during my story. So it begins with loved ones. My mom had me as 16 years old, living with her mom and her twin sister, my Aunt Jo, in a small town called Chelan. We were very fortunate to have such a loving, compassionate, and deeply caring family to help raise both of us. My mom was really young, she was just a child herself, and she raised me. I think she did a damn good job. During the day, I got to spend my days with my grandparents and even my great-grandparents, because yes, they were still alive. At night, I would spend the night with my mom and aunt and their high school friends who I'm told loved baby Jake. Even though I was just a baby, I'm confident that the deep bonds that I have with my family stemmed from those early years of my life. After graduating high school, my mom and Aunt Jo bravely set off for a much bigger town in western Washington called Bellingham. Bellingham was a beautiful place to grow up, and I was a pretty typical kid who liked playing sports and hanging out with friends. But the highlight of my youth was the day that I became a brother. My mom had my brother, Garrett, when I was just going into high school. So I wasn't much younger than my mom when she had me. And I instantly felt this same kind of paternalistic bond with my little brother. And we still share that bond today. We just have this mutual love and respect and admiration for one another. And since I don't have any kids, he's pretty much the closest thing I have to a son of my own. But the next part of my story centers around my career. So I'm going to highlight a few parts where those intersect along the way. After graduating high school, I went to University of Washington so I could be close to my loved ones that I made to that point in my life. And I discovered another passion, which was studying business and accounting. I know that may sound lame or boring, but I enjoyed business a lot. I spent my time doing extracurriculars, case studies, joining a board of directors, and spending a lot of time with those friends that I made in business school. One of those intersections is I realized that 3 of my 4 groomsmen were guys that I went to UW with, and so that was 3/4 of my wedding party right there. So there's your first intersection for those keeping score. Similar to my time at UW, I made a lot of loved ones in my career at KPMG. So one of my groomsmen was Zach, and he and I were good friends during college and got to start our career together at KPMG. Here comes the next intersection. Zach and I, with 30 other Seattle young auditors, got to go to national training in Chicago in June of 2009. And there were hundreds of 20-somethings just starting their career, learning accounting, but being surrounded by lots of young women and being a single 24-year-old man, learning accounting wasn't the only thing on my mind. The week began with Zach and I in a class of 30 other students learning accounting. And it began with, Monday morning's class began with, ironically, an Icebreaker speech. But this is a little different. There's a room of 30 people sitting around, and each of us had to say something about ourselves when you got the ball tossed to you, and then you could sit down and toss the ball to someone else. I bravely eyed this beautiful woman across the room and decided I was just going to take the leap of faith and toss the ball at her. As I sat down, my buddy Zach kind of prodded me and said, "Gee, Jake, how'd you pick who to throw the ball to?" And I kind of laughed. But then I spent the rest of the week getting to know this woman, and today she's my wife. So as I look back at my life, it was just interesting and fun to reflect back on these two paths and the intersecting points along the way, and the decisions I made in my career have helped bring the new loved ones into my life. Thank you.